Are the Cubs done adding to the bullpen? Are they content with what they have going into the regular season? The Athletic says yes. I say, not so fast, my friend. Christopher Morel getting some action at third base. It's been some good, been some bad, but the bat definitely plays. We're going to talk about him. And our prospect watch today is Owen Caissie. We'll also talk about Drew Smiley, who got the start yesterday. All that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you're into the Cubs and hit that bell so you know when we've got new Cubs content. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Let's get this thing started. Go Cubs. So everybody, it's Mick Gillispie. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball channel. It is a pleasure to talk to you guys here today. And I ask you kindly to make sure that you join our rosters. We're looking for some star players here. So make sure that you guys join with us by subscribing. It's for free. All right, let's get into what's going on right now in Arizona. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is our prospect watch. Owen Caissie, 3 for 3. Here's a guy that we mentioned to you in the past, big right fielder. He was the guy that the Cubs got from the Padres at a very young age in the Yu Darvish trade. And he's starting to really develop. He was a monster last year in Double-A, helped lead the Double-A Cubs, the Smokies, to their first championship in 45 years. They could not have done it without him. He was the heart and soul of the offense, hit third most games, and he is a force at the plate. You're starting to see that now in spring training. But also note that he is an excellent outfielder. Yeah, for a big guy, he moves really well. You saw it in the ninth inning of yesterday's game as he legged out an infield hit to keep the game alive. So Owen Caissie starting to show exactly why the Cubs have something special with him. And I'm sure Craig Counsell and the coaching staff are seeing that as well. Not a surprise to me at all, but it's definitely exciting. All right, let's get into a story that was written by The Athletic. And basically, it all kind of ties into the Cubs maybe not interested in Ryan Stenek, but maybe the Cubs are out on adding to the bullpen. Is this true? I'm kind of skeptical about that. Now, I know that the Cubs are right there at the tax threshold when it comes to adding players and payroll, right? And I would not anticipate them going over that. But if the right deal came about, I think that Jed Hoyer and the crew could be very creative to adding to this bullpen. Now, obviously, Hector Neris is a big deal. Adding him to the mix is definitely going to help the Cubs. Adbert Alzolay, seeing what he's able to do this year, if he can duplicate or get close to that. Mark Leiter Jr., Merriweather, there's some really good pieces out there, and you're hoping that some other guys like Luke Little and Daniel Palencia, who did not do well in yesterday's game, but it's early in spring, are able to contribute. And we'll find out as that goes. And maybe some other guys that I'm not even mentioning that step up and really find that year, like what happened last season, with Leiter Jr. and Merriweather. There's always an opportunity for someone to step up and really contribute. So with that said, I don't feel like the Cubs are definitely out yet. I think that they're just kind of sitting back and looking for the right opportunity. But if there's a front office that surprised everybody this year, it's definitely the Cubs. So you just have to see how this thing plays out. Talking about seeing how it plays out, Christopher Morel is getting a lot of action at third base, and that's what we wanted to see. That's what the coaching staff wanted to see. What's he going to do as the Cubs third baseman? And it's a mixed bag, and it's almost exactly like I figured it would be. He gets hits at the plate. He's a very dangerous hitter, especially this time of year when pitchers are in Arizona. You're not getting as much break on the ball. You're just trying to get over the plate with pitches. He's going to kill that stuff. He's a really good fastball hitter. But third base, it's like one inning, he'll make a great play, which he did yesterday. And then the next inning, he'll bobble a double play ball and get no outs. He's got to be more consistent. And I'll tell you what I noticed yesterday is after making the great play, the next inning, he booted one, and Dansby Swanson came over from shortstop and started talking to him. Who knows what those guys were talking about? But what I really respect about Morel is the heart and soul that he's putting into this battle for third base. And for the Cubs, they're giving him a real good look because this would answer one of the biggest question marks that this team has going into the regular season. If Morel could corral that job, yeah, it would make the Cubs a whole lot better. So we'll see as that continues to go. You're going to make mistakes, but I think that they would be happy if he just made all the plays in front of him instead of make a great play and then make a mistake. But that was a tricky ball. It wasn't routine, but it was one that you got to make when it's hit right at you. Now, the final thing that I wanted to talk about on today's show was Drew Smyly and getting roughed up in his start. And it's hard to really say in spring training. And I mean, look, yesterday was the final day of February. So it's not like we're towards the end of spring where pitchers are really starting to home in on being tuned up for the regular season, right? But Smyly roughed up. I think that there's still a chance that he could make the starting rotation as him and about three other guys try to catch Jordan Wicks, who I feel like is going to be that fifth starter for the Cubs. So maybe Smyly could be the sixth guy or it could be Assad. I know that that's something that he wants to do. And last year he did a good job of it at the beginning of the year before struggling and then going to the bullpen. But he was roughed up in his start, 2 innings, 7 hits, and 5 runs. Now, he said afterwards, look, I'm throwing pitches in counts in spots that I wouldn't normally do, because you work on stuff. And I agree with that. That's what spring training is. I mean, you get in there and in certain counts, you throw pitches that you wouldn't throw in the regular season. You're not as much worried about getting the outs as you are getting comfortable throwing different pitches. And he kind of talked about that afterwards. So no panic for me with him, just because I do buy into that. He talked about the ball coming out really well. He said his fastball seemed really hoppy. You're trying to get control over that. And then he said he was a little fatigued in the third, right? And this is a lot of throwing too for guys as we get into this, sometimes second or third appearance for a guy so far this spring. So nothing to be really worried about. What I would worry about this time of year, Ben Brown also struggled yesterday pitching, is if guys feel like their arms are sore. If someone just has dead arm, stuff like that. There's, something isn't working right. If they get hit and they're feeling good and they're working on things, I wouldn't worry about that at all. So I didn't see any alarm. And the last thing was, we talked about Owen Caissie at the beginning of the show. I was really impressed with the way that the Cubs minor league guys fought at the end of that game against Colorado to try to win it. I love to see that spirit. And I think you guys do as well. And I think that's what you're going to really learn about this young core of players that's coming to the big leagues, is that they're super competitive and they're going to bring a lot of that to the Cubs when they get there. All right, that's it for the show today, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Make sure that you like and subscribe. And again, give us a thumbs up. And let me remind you again how appreciative we are of the Tennessee Smokies. They're going to be giving out the championship rings spring training next week. It's exciting. It's the first time it's happened in 45 years. And I think that roster of players eventually is going to scatter throughout the big leagues, and there's going to be a lot of major leaguers that were on that Smokies AA championship team a year ago. Find out for yourself, though. Get some great gear, smokiesbaseball.com/store. Thanks for hanging, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.